first you need to ask yourself, what does your character want? What does this person want? I'm talking primarily about the main character here. What does he want? What does he need? And what is going to keep him from achieving that goal? So you need to look at what's pushing back against your character and how he's going to solve those problems. So that brings in what are your character's strengths and what are your character's weaknesses. His weaknesses are going to be the things that keep him from achieving his goals, cause him problems in the process. And then his strengths are going to be the ways he solves the problems. Those are the things he'll draw upon to solve problems. The other thing you need to look at when you're doing character development, for example, Demetrios, in my book, is a pretty tormented, troubled character. He has a lot of issues and problems. If you're going to have a character who is troubled in some way, he also has to be redeemable. He has to have redeeming qualities that a reader will relate to. So if you think about the show Dexter, for example, Dexter was a serial killer, right? But he was also funny. He had a strong sense of justice. He didn't go just randomly killing people. He killed really bad guys. He also had a strong sense of family loyalty. You know, he was loyal to his sister. He was loyal to the people that he loved. And so all of those things make us like him, even though this guy is really and truly a serial killer. And he's constantly fighting that urge to kill. But we still like Dexter, and he's kind of fun because he's funny and entertaining. So you have to have a character who has those redeemable qualities. So you think about that when you have a tormented character. Perhaps he loves his mom. Perhaps he's kind to animals. Perhaps he's loyal to those people that he cares about. Perhaps he's extremely honest. He'll never cheat anyone. That type of thing. Perhaps he gives his clothes away because he's so generous. So you want those redeeming factors to come into play even though your character may be somewhat troubled and difficult. The other thing to think about when you're developing very relatable and fully developed characters is opposites. You want to when I teach these classes, I have a character worksheet that I use, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's like 3 pages. But one of the things that's most interesting about developing characters, there's some points that you should think about. One is, what would this character's worst enemy say is the character's best quality? What would the character's best friend say is his worst quality? So those are things you want to consider. That kind of diametric opposition of opposing forces. Of what would his enemies say is good about him? What do they admire about your character? What do his friends just really despise about your character? Because then that gives you that depth and layer and texturing of character. Also think about your character's formative years, his childhood. What things happened to him in his childhood, because our childhood informs our adulthood. Think about things like, your character. What does he carry upon his person? What does he always have with him? This is kind of a symbolic representation of personal need. So if a character is hungry, they may always carry a source of food, a loaf of bread, or a snack or whatever, if your character grew up hungry. If your character grew up and was abused in some way, they may carry a weapon. These things that address those personal needs.